Kang Min-ho hit the bedroom floor hard. Again. The woman above him scrambled away like he'd burned her, unable to handle what she'd seen, what she'd felt. "I can't do this, I'm sorry. I just can't." Tears poured down her face as she grabbed her clothes and ran for the door. He didn't move, didn't speak, just lay there on the cold marble, staring at the ceiling. 20. That was the number now. 20 women in 30 days who'd walked into his bed and walked out broken by fear. The first had fled the second he removed his shirt, eyes wide with terror she couldn't hide. The second had tried to push through but froze halfway, whispering that he was too intense, too overwhelming. The third had lasted minutes before panic consumed her. The fourth through 10th were variations of the same: shock, apologies, tears. Some had trembled, others had cried. A few had tried to laugh it off before breaking down completely. The 11th through 19th had each found different ways to express the same truth. He was too much, too big, too powerful, too everything. The 20th had just run. Min-ho pulled himself off the floor, jaw locked tight. He was Seoul's nightmare. The man politicians feared, the one rival syndicates avoided, untouchable in every arena that mattered, except this one. His phone lit up on the nightstand. Yoon Tae-sung, his second in command. "Sir?" Min-ho's silence answered everything. "That makes 20. Tae-sung's voice was careful. "We need to address the assistant situation. 3 weeks without one is creating vulnerabilities. People are watching, waiting for weakness. Tomorrow." "Sir," the call ended. Min-ho stood at the window, Seoul glittering beneath him like conquered territory. 40 floors up, he owned this city, built it on blood and brilliance. But intimacy, connection, that remained beyond his reach. If this moment pulled you in, stay with them. Subscribe and do not look away. Their story has already started. Stay with me. Like the video, subscribe for free, and comment your thoughts below. Morning broke over the glass tower that housed Min-ho's empire. He sat behind his desk, reviewing contracts for businesses both legitimate and lethal. Hotels, technology firms, security companies, nightclubs that washed dirty money clean, import operations that moved weapons across borders, all of it controlled by his hand. Tae-sung entered without knocking, exhaustion evident in the shadows under his eyes. He carried a tablet like a peace offering. "I found someone." "No. Hear me out." I said no. Min-ho signed another document with brutal efficiency. "Every candidate you've presented has quit before lunch. The last one didn't even make it past the background check. This one's different. They're all different until they see what I am." Min-ho's pen struck paper harder. "Then they run like the others." Tae-sung dropped the tablet on the desk hard enough to demand attention. Min-ho's gaze snapped up to the screen. A photograph filled the display. A woman. Dark skin that seemed to radiate light despite the digital medium. Eyes that met the camera with absolute fearlessness. Sharp cheekbones. Full lips curved in something between amusement and challenge. Beautiful in a way that made his chest constrict unexpectedly. Georgina Richard. I am 26 years old. Limited formal education, but survival skills most special forces would envy. She's worked underground security, information networks, debt collection, and has contacts in territories we can't penetrate. I am fluent in 4 languages. Smart, fearless, completely unimpressed by power. Street background. Min-ho's tone was dismissive. Survivor's instinct. Tae-sung corrected me. Born in Lagos, relocated to Seoul 5 years ago. She's got a reputation for being impossible to rattle. And before you reject her, understand this, she refused the interview 3 times, told me she wasn't interested in nursemaiding a rich man with authority complexes. Something dangerous flickered in Min-ho's eyes. "She said that?" "Word for word. I had to triple the standard salary just to get her to consider meeting you." For the first time in weeks, Min-ho felt something other than emptiness. Interest. sharp and unexpected. Bring her up. She's already downstairs. It has been for 25 minutes. Said she'd wait until noon, then she's leaving whether you see her or not. Min-ho checked his watch. 11:51 a.m. Send her up now. The elevator opened at 11:53. Georgina walked into his office like she owned every inch of it. Black jeans hugged curves that could cause accidents. A worn leather jacket suggested stories. Boots that had clearly seen combat. Her natural hair fell in textured waves around her face, framing features that belonged on billboards. But it was her presence that dominated. Confidence earned through fire, not given through privilege. She didn't bow, didn't soften, just fixed those dark eyes on him and spoke. You're bigger than your file indicated. Still doesn't make you as scary as you think. Behind her, Taesung made a strangled sound. Min-ho rose slowly, deliberately. 6'3" of lethal authority. He'd broken men with a glance, made enemies vanish with a whisper. This woman looked at him like he was mildly interesting at best. You have 1 minute to convince me why I shouldn't have security remove you. Georgina's head tilted, assessing him like a problem she'd already solved. You won't throw me out. You burned through how many assistants now? 15? 20? None lasted because they're terrified of you. Not just because you're dangerous. Money makes lots of people dangerous. They're scared because you consume all the air in any space you occupy, and most people forget how to breathe around that kind of intensity. She stepped closer. But I grew up in environments where men like you were everywhere. Warlords, cartel heads, men who believed power meant ownership of everything breathing. I learned to survive them, read them, handle them without shattering. Another step. So here's the truth. I don't scare easily, don't impress easily, and I definitely don't submit easily. Do you need someone capable of navigating your world without falling apart? That's me. Do you need someone who'll speak the truth even when it angers you? Also me. She stopped 3 feet from his desk. But if you want someone who'll worship at your feet and tremble when you enter a room, keep searching. I'm not that woman. Silence consumed the office. Min-ho stared at her, something hot and unfamiliar coiling in his gut. Nobody spoke to him this way. Nobody dared. He should have been furious, should have had Taesung escort her out permanently. Instead, he felt alive for the first time in weeks. You start tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. Georgina's lips curved into a smile that was pure challenge. I'll arrive at 6. I don't negotiate on sleep. She turned and walked toward the elevator, hips swaying, completely unbothered by his power. Taesung stared at Min-ho incredulously. Did she just? Yes. And you're actually? Yes. Sir, I don't think you fully comprehend what you just hired. Min-ho's gaze remained locked on the elevator doors where she'd vanished. I know exactly what I hired. Someone who wouldn't break. If you feel the chemistry building, stay close. Subscribe so you do not miss the next chapter. Comment what you think they are about to do. Stay with me. Like the video, subscribe for free, and comment your thoughts below. The following morning, Georgina entered his office at 6:17, carrying coffee for herself and nothing for him. You're late. You're observant. She settled into the chair across from his desk without invitation, crossing her legs. What does this job actually involve? And skip the corporate sanitized version. Give me reality. Min-ho leaned back, studying her. Daylight made her even more stunning. Dark skin glowed against the crisp white blouse she'd paired with tailored black pants. Professional but entirely authentic. Reality is, I run multiple organizations. Some operate within legal boundaries, others don't. You'll manage my schedule, handle sensitive communications, coordinate with people who can't be seen entering this building. You'll know secrets that could destroy empires, information that could get you killed. Sounds like Tuesday. Georgina sipped her coffee. What else? You'll accompany me to events, business dinners, negotiations, places where having someone beside me sends specific messages. So I'm your prop. You're my protection. Min-ho's voice dropped. People behave differently when they think I have something to lose. Someone I care about, even if it's theater. Georgina's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Fake relationship, public only. Exactly. What's the pay? He named a figure that made most people's eyes widen. Georgina didn't react. Double it. Excuse me? You heard me. Double it. She leaned forward. You're not just hiring an assistant, you're hiring a shield, an actress, someone who'll lie to dangerous people on your behalf. That's worth double. Min-ho felt his lips twitch, almost a smile. You have nerves. I have rent. She stood. Double the salary or I walk. You've got until I reach that elevator to decide. She headed for the doors. Min-ho watched her go, something dark and possessive stirring in his chest. She was infuriating, fearless, completely unmanageable. Perfect. Fine. Georgina stopped, turned, smiled. Pleasure doing business. 3 days later, Min-ho discovered what he'd actually hired. He was in a closed-door meeting with suppliers who'd been skimming profits for months. Dangerous men who thought Min-ho wouldn't notice. The conversation had turned tense, threats barely concealed beneath professional language. The door opened. Georgina walked in carrying a tablet, heels clicking against marble. She didn't apologize for the interruption, just moved to Min-ho's side, leaned down, and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. The files you requested, all the bank transfers, every missing dollar. Should I display them now or wait until after these gentlemen leave? The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. The lead supplier went pale. What files? Georgina smiled sweetly. The ones showing exactly where your skimming operation deposits funds. Offshore accounts, shell companies. It's all very thorough. Min-ho hadn't asked for any files, hadn't mentioned the investigation to her. But Georgina had clearly done her homework, dug into his operations, and figured out exactly what leverage he needed in this precise moment. Gentlemen, Min-ho's voice was silk over steel. I believe we were discussing adjusted terms. The suppliers agreed to everything within 5 minutes. After they left, Min-ho turned to Georgina. How did you know? I read your calendar, saw this meeting, did some research. She shrugged. Figured you didn't schedule 2 hours with mid-level suppliers unless something was wrong. Found the discrepancies in 30 minutes. You really should encrypt your financial systems better. You hacked my servers? I prefer the term aggressive auditing. She headed for the door. You're welcome, by the way. Min-ho stared after her, something dangerous and heated building in his chest. She was brilliant, reckless, exactly what he needed, exactly what he wanted. That evening, Min-ho attended a charity gala. Georgina accompanied him in a dress that should have been illegal. Deep emerald silk that clung to every curve, contrasting beautifully against her dark skin. Her hair was styled elegantly, showcasing her neck and shoulders. Every man in the room turned to stare. Min-ho wanted to gouge their eyes out. She played her role perfectly, touched his arm with casual intimacy, laughed at appropriate moments, leaned close when he whispered. To everyone watching, they looked like a couple deeply enamored. But Min-ho felt the careful distance she maintained, the performance of it. Nothing real, nothing genuine. It bothered him more than it should. Mr. Kang, a business rival, approached, the younger son of a competing family. His eyes lingered too long on Georgina. I didn't know you were seeing someone. Georgina? Min-ho's hand moved to her lower back, possessive. This is Park Chen-woo. His family runs shipping operations. Legitimate shipping? Georgina's smile was innocent. Chen-woo laughed. As legitimate as anything in our world. He extended his hand. Georgina took it. The handshake lasted 2 seconds too long. Chen-woo's thumb brushed her wrist. If you ever tire of this one, I'd love to show you what real power looks like. The room tilted. Min-ho's hand tightened on Georgina's back. His jaw locked. Every instinct screamed to break Chen-woo's arm at the elbow, to make him understand that touching her meant death. But Georgina spoke first. I appreciate the offer. Her voice was honey and poison. But I prefer men who don't need to announce their power. Real strength doesn't require advertising. Chen-woo's smile faltered. Georgina turned to Min-ho, pressing closer. Darling, didn't we have another appointment? Min-ho couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The jealousy burning through him was volcanic, irrational. consuming. He managed a nod. They left Chen-Wu standing there, humiliated. In the car, silence stretched. Min-ho stared out the window, hands clenched. "You okay?" Georgina asked. "Fine. You don't look fine. You look like you want to commit murder." "I'm always considering murder. Occupational hazard." She laughed softly. "He was testing you, seeing if you'd react. I shut it down." "You let him touch you." The words came out harder than Min-ho intended. Georgina turned to face him fully. It was a handshake. It was disrespectful. It was business. Her voice softened slightly. "This is the job, right? Playing the role? Making people believe we're together so they behave differently?" Min-ho looked at her finally. Really looked. The dress, the elegance, the way she'd defended him without hesitation, and realized with brutal clarity that somewhere between her first day and now, the performance had stopped feeling like theater, at least for him. "Right." He forced his voice to be neutral. "Just business." Georgina held his gaze a moment longer, something unreadable flickering in her dark eyes. Then she looked away. The rest of the drive passed in silence. If this scene hits you, pause with me. Like the video if you felt it. Subscribe to keep following them. Comment whose heart is about to break. Stay with me. Like the video, subscribe for free, and comment your thoughts below. 2 weeks later, everything changed. Min-ho had a business dinner, high-stakes negotiation with international partners. He needed Georgina there, playing the role of devoted girlfriend. She'd agreed without hesitation, showing up in a black dress that made his mouth go dry. The dinner went smoothly. Too smoothly. The partners agreed to terms faster than expected, signed contracts over dessert. By the time they left, Min-ho was suspicious but pleased. "That was easy," Georgina said in the car. "Too easy. You think it's a trap?" "I think people don't give me favorable terms without ulterior motives." Min-ho loosened his tie. "But we'll discover their angle eventually." Georgina nodded, then glanced at him. "Can I ask you something?" "Depends on the question." "Why me, really? You could have hired someone with actual credentials, corporate experience. Why take a chance on someone from the streets?" Min-ho was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Because everyone with credentials spent years learning to fear people like me." "You never learned that lesson. You see the danger and don't flinch. That's rarer than any degree." Georgina's expression softened imperceptibly. That almost sounded like a compliment. "Don't get used to it," she smiled, real this time. Not the performance smile she used at events, something genuine. It hit Min-ho like a physical blow. The car stopped at her apartment building. Modest. Nothing like the luxury Min-ho lived in. He should have let her go. Should have said goodnight. Instead, he spoke. "Have dinner with me." Georgina paused, hand on the door. "We just had dinner." "Real dinner, not business. Just us." "Why?" "Good question." Min-ho didn't have a good answer. Just knew he wasn't ready for her to leave. "Because I'm asking." Georgina studied him in the dim light. Then slowly she smiled. "Okay." They ended up at a pojangmatcha, a street food tent. Nothing fancy. Plastic stools and soju and grilled meat. Min-ho couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten somewhere like this. Somewhere real. Georgina was more relaxed here, less guarded. She told him about Lagos, about learning to survive in a city that ate the weak, about coming to Seoul with nothing and building a life through sheer determination. "What about you?" she asked, pouring more soju. "How does someone become Seoul's most terrifying man?" Min-ho smiled darkly, carefully and with lots of bodies. "I'm serious." He was quiet, then answered honestly. "My father built this empire. I inherited it. But inheritance means nothing if you can't hold it. I had to prove I was stronger, smarter, more ruthless than everyone who wanted to take it from me. So I did. I became the monster they feared. And now I'm alone at the top, wondering if it was worth it." Georgina's hand covered his. The touch was electric, unexpectedly. "You're not as alone as you think." Min-ho's fingers curled around hers. "Georgina, I know what you're going to say, that this is complicated, that I work for you, that we shouldn't cross lines." Her eyes met his. "But I'm not afraid of being complicated, and I don't think you are either." She was right. He wasn't afraid of being complicated. He was afraid of this, of wanting something he couldn't control, of needing someone who might leave like all the others. But looking at her, feeling her hand in his, Min-ho made a decision. He leaned forward and kissed her. Georgina stiffened for half a second, then melted into him, kissing back with intensity that stole his breath. Her hands moved to his hair, his arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer despite the awkward angle of the plastic stools. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "Your place or mine?" Georgina whispered. Min-ho's answer was to stand, drop money on the table, and pull her toward the car. They barely made it inside his penthouse before clothes started coming off. Georgina's dress hit the floor. Min-ho's shirt followed. They moved through the space in a blur of heated kisses and desperate touches until they reached his bedroom. For one terrifying moment, Min-ho hesitated, the memories of 20 women flooding back, the fear, the rejection, the loneliness. But Georgina saw it in his eyes. She cupped his face, made him look at her. "Hey, I'm not them. I don't scare easily, remember? Georgina, I'm too much. I know. Everyone's told you. But maybe—" She kissed him softly. "Maybe you just haven't found someone who's enough for you." Something in Min-ho's chest cracked open. He kissed her harder, lowering her to the bed. And for the first time in his life, someone didn't run, didn't freeze, didn't break. Georgina matched his intensity, met his needs with her own, rose to every challenge. And when the night blurred into something beautiful and consuming, Min-ho finally understood what had been missing. He'd been looking for someone who could handle him, but what he needed was someone who wanted to. Before we continue, quick question. Where in the world are you watching from? Drop it in the comments and subscribe for free because the next story might be even crazier than this one. Min-ho woke to an empty bed. Panic seized him immediately. He sat up, scanning the room. Georgina's dress was gone. Her shoes, no note, nothing. She'd left. Of course she had, just like he'd feared. The intimacy had been too much. He'd been too much. Now she was gone, and Min-ho was alone again, the brief taste of connection making the emptiness worse. He grabbed his phone, called Tai-sung. "Find Georgina, now." "Sir, it's 5 a.m. "I don't care. Find her. Bring her back." 30 minutes later, Tai-sung called back. "She's at her apartment. Do you want me to—" "No, I'll go." Min-ho threw on clothes and drove across the city like a man possessed. He took the stairs to her floor 2 at a time, pounded on her door. No answer. He pounded again. Finally, the door opened. Georgina stood there in an oversized shirt and sleep shorts. Hair wild, eyes confused. "Min-ho? What? Why did you leave?" She blinked. "What? You left. Middle of the night. No note. No explanation. Why?" Understanding dawned on her face. "Oh, Min-ho, If last night was a mistake, just say it. If you can't handle this, I need to know now before—" "Stop." Georgina grabbed his shirt, pulled him inside, and shut the door. "I left because I was scared." That stopped him cold. "You?" "Yes, me." She crossed her arms defensively. "You think you're the only one who's terrified? Min-ho, what happened last night was intense, real, and I don't do real well. I survived. I do surface. I don't do—" She gestured helplessly. "Whatever this is becoming." Min-ho stared at her, seeing his own fear reflected back. "So what do we do?" "I don't know." Her voice was small, vulnerable in a way he'd never heard. "I just know I wasn't ready to face you this morning. Wasn't ready to see regret in your eyes." "Regret?" Min-ho moved closer. "Georgina, last night was the first time in my life I didn't feel like a monster someone had to endure. You think I regret that?" Tears appeared in her eyes. Actual tears. "Everyone leaves eventually. Everyone can't handle what I am. And you're this powerful, intense force, and I'm just— enough." Min-ho pulled her against his chest. "You're enough. More than enough. And I'm not going anywhere." Georgina buried her face in his shirt. Her shoulders shook. Min-ho held her tighter, realizing they were both broken in similar ways, both convinced they were too much for anyone to love. Maybe that's why they worked. The next morning, the real next morning, Georgina showed up at his office like nothing had happened. Professional, put it together. But there was a softness in her eyes when she looked at him that hadn't been there before. "Morning," she said, setting coffee on his desk. His coffee. She'd remembered how he took it. "Morning." Min-ho caught her wrist as she turned to leave. "Tonight, dinner, real date." She smiled. "Okay." It should have been simple. Should have been the start of something good. But Min-ho's world was never simple. The call came at 2 p.m. Tae-sung, voice tight with urgency. "Sir, we have a situation." Min-ho's blood went cold. "What situation?" "Someone leaked photos from the gala. You and Georgina. They're everywhere. And not just society pages. Our enemies know about her now." The phone felt heavy. "How bad?" "Very bad. Chen-woo's family is already making moves. They see her as leverage. As your weakness." Min-ho's free hand clenched into a fist. This was exactly what he'd feared. Exactly why he'd kept everyone at distance. The moment someone mattered, they became a target. He looked through the glass partition. Georgina sat at her desk, typing away, completely unaware that her life had just become exponentially more dangerous. "Double her security. I want someone on her 24/7. "Already done." "But sir," Tae-sung hesitated, "they're going to come for her eventually. You know they will. Then we'll be ready." Min-ho ended the call, stood, and walked to Georgina's desk. She looked up, smiled, then saw his expression. The smile faded. "What's wrong?" "We need to talk. My office. Now." Comment below what you think happens next. Will Min-ho push her away to protect her, or will he fight to keep her close? Subscribe and stay tuned for the second half where everything explodes. Inside Min-ho's office, Georgina stood with arms crossed, waiting. He closed the door, activated the privacy screen that made the glass opaque. "Photos from the gala leaked. You and me. They're circulating through every network in Seoul." Georgina's expression didn't change. "So people know we're together. That was the point, wasn't it?" The point was controlled information, strategic appearance. This is different. Our enemies now see you as my weakness, as leverage they can exploit. "So what are you saying?" Min-ho's jaw worked. Every instinct screamed to push her away. Send her somewhere safe. End this before she gets hurt. But looking at her, standing there fearless and steady, he couldn't do it. "I'm saying things just became more dangerous. You'll have security following you everywhere. No arguments. And you stay away from certain areas of the city until we neutralize the immediate threats." Georgina stepped closer. "Or I could just quit. Walk away. Make it clear I mean nothing to you." "No." The word came out too fast, too desperate. Min-ho cleared his throat. "That won't work. They've already identified you. Leaving now makes you look like a loose end. Something they'd want to silence. So I'm trapped. You're protected." He moved to her, hands gripping her shoulders. "I won't let anyone hurt you. I promise you that." Georgina's eyes searched his. "This is real now, isn't it? Not just the job, not just the performance." "It stopped being a performance the moment I kissed you." She exhaled slowly, then nodded. "Okay, tell me what we're dealing with." The next week was tense. Georgina had 2 bodyguards shadowing her constantly. Tae-sung reported 3 attempted surveillance operations on her apartment. Min-ho barely slept, obsessing over every potential threat. But Georgina refused to hide. She showed up to work every day. I attended events with Min-ho, smiled through the danger like it was just another Tuesday. During a business dinner, she leaned close and whispered, "Stop looking at everyone like you're planning their funeral. You're making people nervous." "I am planning their funeral. 7 different ways." She laughed softly. "You're ridiculous." "I'm protective. You're possessive." She squeezed his hand under the table. "There's a difference. With you, they're the same thing." Something heated flashed in her eyes. Min-ho realized he wanted to abandon this dinner, take her home, and show her exactly how possessive he felt. But business required patience. The night dragged on. They were leaving the restaurant when it happened. A black van screeched to a stop at the curb. Doors flew open. 4 men emerged, weapons visible but concealed enough to avoid immediate panic. They moved fast, professional, toward Georgina. Min-ho's bodyguards reacted instantly, forming a barrier. But one attacker broke through, grabbed Georgina's arm, yanked hard. She didn't scream, didn't freeze. Her elbow snapped back into his face, breaking his nose. Her boot connected with another's knee. She fought like someone who'd done this before, vicious and efficient. But there were too many. Min-ho moved like violence given form. His fist shattered the first man's jaw. His knee destroyed the second's ribs. The third tried to run. Tae-sung caught him, slammed him against the van hard enough to dent metal. The fourth man still had Georgina, knife pressed to her throat. Back off or she dies. Everything stopped. Min-ho's vision tunneled. The knife. Georgina's throat. One wrong move and she'd bleed out in seconds. His hands shook with the effort of not launching himself forward. Let her go. His voice was death itself. Let her go and I'll make it quick. Keep holding her and I'll spend days killing you. I want safe passage, a car, money. You want impossibilities. Min-ho took one step forward. That woman you're holding? She's mine. And I don't negotiate for what's mine. I take it back. Then I burn everything you love until there's nothing left but ash and screaming. The man's hand trembled. Georgina spoke, voice calm despite the blade. You should listen to him. He's not exaggerating. Shut up. I'm just trying to help. Because when he gets me back, and he will, what happens to you will be legendary. People will tell stories about your suffering. The man's fear was visible now. His knife hand shook harder. Min-ho struck. One moment he was standing still. The next he'd crossed the distance, twisted the man's wrist until bones cracked, and pulled Georgina away from the blade. The attacker screamed. Min-ho didn't stop. His fist connected with the man's face repeatedly, brutally, until Tae-sung pulled him off. Sir, he's done. Min-ho was breathing hard, knuckles bloody. He turned to Georgina. Are you hurt? She touched her throat where the knife had been. A thin red line, barely a scratch. I'm fine. You're bleeding. Barely. Min-ho pulled her against him, heart hammering. We're leaving. Now. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Tae-sung was already making calls, ensuring the right people arrived first. The attackers would disappear into the system. Questions would be buried. This was Min-ho's city. He controlled the narrative. In the car, Georgina was quiet. Too quiet. Min-ho held her hand, feeling her pulse racing beneath his fingers. Talk to me. I'm processing. She stared out the window. That was Chen Wu's people, wasn't it? Probably. We'll know for certain soon. What are you going to do? Min-ho's expression went cold. What I should have done the moment he touched you at that gala. I'm going to end him. Do not walk away now. This is where everything changes. If you are still here, you are part of this story. Stay with me. Like the video, subscribe for free, and comment your thoughts below. Min-ho's penthouse became a war room. Tae-sung brought files, photographs, and financial records. They spread across the dining table like evidence of inevitable violence. Chen Wu's been planning this for months, Tae-sung explained. The attack wasn't opportunistic. He's been watching you, waiting for weakness. He found it. Min-ho's voice was gravel. Me. Georgina stood at the window, arms wrapped around herself. She hadn't said much since they'd arrived. Min-ho wanted to go to her, but strategy demanded attention first. His shipping operations are vulnerable, Tae-sung continued. 3 of his warehouses have minimal security. We could hit them simultaneously. Send a message. Too obvious. Min-ho studied the files. He'd expect that. We need something that hurts more than property. His brother, the younger one, manages their legitimate businesses. If something happened to those holdings, do it. I want Chen Wu to watch everything he's built collapse before I deal with him personally. Tae-sung nodded, gathered the files, and left. Silence filled the space. Min-ho approached Georgina slowly. What are you thinking? That this is my fault. If I hadn't been so visible, so obvious. Stop. He turned her to face him. This isn't your fault. Chen Wu made a choice. He threatened what's mine. Now he pays the price. What's yours? Georgina's laugh was bitter. Is that what I am? Property? You know that's not what I meant. Do I? Her eyes flashed. Because from where I'm standing, I'm the weakness everyone keeps talking about. The liability. The thing that makes you vulnerable. Min-ho gripped her arms. You're not a thing. You're the only person who's made me feel human in years. The only one who looks at me and doesn't see a monster. So yes, you're mine. Not because I own you, but because I choose you. Every day, every moment. And if that makes me vulnerable, then so be it. Georgina's resistance crumbled. She pressed her forehead against his chest. I don't want you to get hurt because of me. Too late. I'm already destroyed. His hand moved to her hair. You ruined me the moment you walked into my office and refused to be afraid. She looked up at him, tears threatening. Min-ho. He kissed her, slow, deep, pouring everything he couldn't say into the contact. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Come to bed, he whispered. Let me prove you're more than a weakness. You're my strength. Georgina let him lead her to the bedroom, let him show her with touch and whispered words exactly what she meant. And when the night faded into early morning, they lay tangled together, temporarily safe in the eye of the storm. The next day, Chen Wu's empire started crumbling. His shipping contracts mysteriously canceled. His warehouses failed inspections. His brother's legitimate businesses faced sudden audits that revealed financial irregularities. Within 48 hours, the Park family was hemorrhaging money and influence. Chen Wu knew who was responsible. He called Min-ho directly. You're making a mistake. My only mistake was not ending you sooner. This war will cost you everything, including her. Min-ho's grip on the phone tightened. Touch her again, and I'll mail pieces of you to your father until he begs me to stop. Big words, but can you protect her every moment of every day? Eventually you'll slip, and when you do, the call ended. Min-ho stood there, fury and fear warring in his chest. Chen Wu was right about one thing. He couldn't protect Georgina every second. Eventually there would be an opening, a moment of vulnerability, unless he ended this permanently. Tai-sung, Min-ho's voice was ice. Set up a meeting with Chen Wu. Neutral ground, just him and me. Sir, that's not a suggestion. Set it up. Georgina was furious when she found out. You're meeting him alone? Are you insane? It's the only way to end this without more bloodshed. It's suicide, she paced his office. He'll bring an army. He'll kill you the moment you show up. He won't. Min-ho was calm. Because he wants to humiliate me, beat me in front of witnesses, prove he's stronger. That requires I stay alive long enough for theater. And what's your plan? Talk him to death? Min-ho smiled without humor. Something like that. Georgina stopped in front of his desk, hands planted flat on the surface. I'm going with you. Absolutely not. Not asking permission. Georgina, you said I was yours, right? That works both ways. You're mine too, and I don't let what's mine walk into danger alone. Min-ho stood, moved around the desk, caged her against it with his arms. If something happens to me, I need to know you're safe, that you'll survive this. If something happens to you, I don't want to survive it. Her voice cracked. So either we both make it through, or neither of us does. He stared at her, seeing the absolute certainty in her eyes. She meant it, every word, and something in his chest expanded painfully. You're the most stubborn woman I've ever met. You're the most infuriating man I've ever met. We're perfect for each other. Apparently. Min-ho kissed her hard, desperately, like it might be the last time. When he pulled back, his decision was made. Fine, but you do exactly what I say. No arguments, no heroics. Deal. The meeting was set for midnight at an abandoned shipyard. Neutral ground, witnessed by representatives from other families to ensure rules were followed. Min-ho arrived with Tai-sung and 4 guards. Georgina beside him, despite every instinct screaming to leave her behind. Chen Wu was already there, smirking. You actually came and brought your pet. How domestic. Georgina's hand touched Min-ho's back gently, grounding him, keeping him focused. You wanted this meeting, Min-ho said. Say what you need to say. It's simple. You've had your run, but your time is ending. The families are tired of your control, your brutality. They want someone more reasonable in charge. Someone like you. Exactly. Chen Wu spread his hands. So here's my offer. Step down. Transfer your operations to me. Walk away with your life and your woman. Or refuse and watch her die slowly while you bleed out beside her. Min-ho felt Georgina tense, felt his own rage building, but he kept his voice level. Counter-proposal. You leave Seoul tonight, permanently. Take your family and disappear. Or I show everyone here exactly why they should fear me. Chen Wu laughed. You're outnumbered, outgunned. What exactly do you think you can... He didn't finish, because the shadows around the shipyard moved. Dozens of figures emerged. Min-ho's people, not just his personal guards, his entire network. Soldiers from every operation he controlled. They surrounded Chen Wu's forces completely, weapons visible. Chen Wu's confidence evaporated. What is this? Insurance. Min-ho stepped forward. You thought the families were tired of me? I've been having conversations, making assurances. Every single one of them values stability over your ambition. They agreed that removing you serves everyone's interest better than removing me. You're bluffing. Am I? Min-ho gestured. Representatives from 3 other major families stepped forward, nodding confirmation. Chen Wu looked around wildly, realizing he'd been outmaneuvered completely. This isn't over? Yes, it is. Min-ho's voice dropped to a whisper only Chen Wu could hear. You threatened her, put a knife to her throat, made her bleed. For that alone, I should kill you right now. But I'm going to be merciful. You have 24 hours to leave Korea. After that, every resource I control will hunt you. Every contact, every ally. You'll spend the rest of your life running. And when I finally catch you, and I will, what happens next will make tonight look like kindness. Chen Wu's face went white. He looked at his men, to the other families. No one moved to help him. He'd lost completely. Go, Min-ho said, before I change my mind. Chen Wu backed away, then turned and fled. His men followed. Within minutes, the shipyard was quiet again. Georgina exhaled slowly. That was necessary. Min-ho pulled her against him. It's over. You're safe. She wrapped her arms around him, holding tight. We're safe. Yes, we are. Like the video if the ending surprised you. Comment on your reaction or your theory. Subscribe for free so you do not miss the next story. 3 months later, life found a new rhythm. Chen Wu had indeed fled the country. His family's operations were absorbed by others. Peace settled over Seoul's underworld. Tense, but holding. Min-ho and Georgina's relationship was no longer secret or strategic. It was simply real. She still worked as his assistant, but their connection had evolved beyond professional boundaries into something neither could define but both needed. They had dinner together most nights, sometimes fancy restaurants, more often pojangmatcha stalls where Georgina felt more comfortable. They talked about everything and nothing, argued about business strategies, laughed at stupid things. Min-ho discovered what it meant to be happy. One evening, he took her to the penthouse rooftop. Seoul spread beneath them like conquered territory, but Min-ho only had eyes for the woman beside him. I need to tell you something, he said. Georgina turned, eyebrows raised. Ominous opening. Should I be worried? Maybe. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Because I'm about to make everything more complicated. Her eyes went wide. Min-ho, before you panic, let me talk. He opened the box, revealing a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. I know we've only been together a few months. I know my world is dangerous and difficult. I know I'm demanding and possessive and probably terrible at relationships. But I also know that I don't want to spend another day without you. I don't want to imagine a future where you're not beside me. So I'm asking... Yes, Min-ho stopped. I haven't finished the question. Don't care. Answers yes. Georgina's smile was radiant. You think I'd let you finish some long romantic speech when you're clearly nervous? Just put the ring on before you drop it. He laughed, actually laughed, and slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. She admired it for a moment, then pulled him into a kiss that tasted like joy and promise. When they broke apart, Min-ho pressed his forehead to hers. I love you. I should have said that first. I know. She grinned. I love you too, even though you're bossy and overprotective and slightly unhinged. Slightly? Okay, very unhinged, but you're my unhinged. And you're my stubborn, fearless, impossible woman. Perfect match. Perfect match. The wedding happened 2 months later. Small ceremony. Close friends and trusted allies only. Nothing ostentatious. Just two people who'd found each other in the darkness and decided to build something light. Georgina wore a dress that made Min-ho forget how to breathe. White silk against her dark skin. Simple and elegant. She walked down the aisle with confidence, no hesitation, meeting his eyes the entire way. When the officiant asked if he took her as his wife, Min-ho's answer was immediate. I do. And do you take him? I do. Georgina didn't wait for the full question either. The officiant smiled. Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may. They were already kissing. The small crowd laughed and applauded. Tae-sung wiped his eyes, pretending he had dust in them. Min-ho's mother, who'd flown in from Busan, looked simultaneously delighted and terrified for Georgina's safety. But Georgina just smiled through it all, hand tight in Min-ho's, completely unafraid of what came next. 6 months into marriage, Georgina sat on the bathroom floor, staring at a positive pregnancy test. She should have been terrified, should have questioned if bringing a child into Min-ho's dangerous world was responsible, should have worried about 1,000 things. Instead, she felt joy, pure, uncomplicated joy. She found Min-ho in his office, working late as usual. He looked up when she entered, immediately concerned. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. She walked to him, placed the test on his desk. Everything's right. Min-ho stared at it, then at her, then back at the test. Is this? Yes. He stood so fast his chair crashed backward. His hands went to her face, her shoulders, her stomach, like he needed to confirm she was real. You're pregnant? We're pregnant. The smile that broke across his face was beautiful, unguarded, pure happiness. He lifted her off her feet, spun her once, then set her down gently like she was made of glass. I'm going to be a father. You're going to be a great father. Georgina wrapped her arms around his neck, overprotective and slightly terrifying, but great. I'll protect both of you, always, I promise. I know. She kissed him softly. That's why I'm not afraid. And she wasn't, because despite the danger, despite the darkness that existed in Min-ho's world, Georgina had learned something crucial. Love was stronger. 18 months later, Georgina stood in their penthouse nursery, holding their daughter. Min-ji, 6 months old, perfect in every way. She had her father's eyes and her mother's smile. Min-ho entered quietly, freshly showered after a day handling business. He moved behind Georgina, arms wrapping around both of them. Is she asleep? Finally, I fought it for an hour. Stubborn like her mother, intense like her father. They stood there in comfortable silence, watching their daughter breathe peacefully. Min-ho's hand moved to Georgina's hip, pulling her back against him. Do you ever regret it? He asked quietly. Saying yes? Joining this life? Georgina didn't hesitate. Never, not once. You. My only regret is the 20 women before you. He kissed her temple. All that time wasted when I could have been searching for you. You weren't ready for me then. Neither of us was ready. And now? Now we're perfect. She turned in his arms, careful not to wake Minji. Chaotic and dangerous and completely insane, but perfect. Min-ho kissed her, slow and deep. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. I love you. I love you too. Minji made a small sound in her sleep. Both parents looked down at her, matching expressions of wonder on their faces. This was everything Min-ho had never thought he'd have. Connection, love, family, a woman who met his intensity with her own. A daughter who would grow up knowing her father was both the most dangerous man in Seoul and the one who loved her most fiercely. He'd spent years believing he was too much for anyone. But Georgina had proved him wrong. She was enough, more than enough. She was everything. And together they'd built something beautiful from the broken pieces they'd each carried alone. Outside, Seoul sparkled with lights. Inside, a family slept peacefully. The monster had found his peace. The survivor had found her home. And love had conquered everything else. If you made it to the end, You're part of this journey. Like this video if their story moved you. Comment which moment hit you hardest. Subscribe for free because next week's story is going to be even more intense. Thank you for reading. See you in the next one.